Welcome to Pera's Playbook. This is your host, Alex Pera. Let's open up our playbook and see who our guest is. Please enjoy. Welcome to episode 187 of Pera's Playbook. Today we're joined by Gary Hudson. He's an actor. He's got 134 acting credits. He's probably most known as Steve in Roadhouse. We gave this an attempt a while back and we had some technical difficulties, so knock on wood, we won't have that today, but happy to have Gary here. How's it going?
Doing okay, buddy. Doing okay. Glad to be with you.
Yeah, knock on wood that technology is in our favor today.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can, create the magic again, but I'll try.
Yeah. Well, why don't we start by talking about how you got into acting? I mean, when you were younger, did you start doing school plays or, how'd you get interested in
I
it?
was an athlete when I was in school. I'm still an athlete, but did a lot of sports. But I was also in the a cappella choir and the men's quartet, so we do little skits there, and I just always loved movies. And a friend of my uncle's came out from used to grew up in my neighborhood in Virginia. He lived out in San Francisco and just in high school, and he kind of put the bug in me. He said, "You'd be, really good." So I don't know, and I always kind of just love film. I love film. And I love the old movies. I used to, with my dad, we'd watch, Spencer Tracy and Catherine Hepburn, Bogart, all the great classics, Bridge over the River Kwai,
Oh,
all the
that's
great
a great movie.
westerns, Pat and Mike, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. I was a big Sidney Poitier fan also. Um, and Bogart, I loved all the Bogart stuff. So I really loved the older films and just how they were shot and how they were done. And they were done for not a lot of money. A lot of these movies were, low budget films, actually. Casablanca wasn't a big budget movie. So anyway, I was like in college just playing tennis on the team and just one day a buddy of mine said, let's go to Aspen. He was like 10 years older. I was didn't want to, I was kind of done with I'd been in school about 18 months. I said, yeah, let's go to Aspen. I was supposed to go 2 weeks and I stayed 6 months and then got on a bus. I was 20 years old and came out to California and didn't know anybody and just kind of started studying and got a job as a waiter and just made my way.
Yeah. I love old movies too. One of my favorite actors is John Wayne. I love
Oh, I love
John Wayne
John.
movies and you mentioned Bridge over River Kwai. That's a phenomenal movie.
Great
Some of my
movie.
favorite Christmas movies.
John Wayne, I'm good friends, with Marissa, his daughter, and
Yeah.
Patrick, a buddy of mine, and I met John several times, and
Yeah.
which was
That's
really
awesome.
cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I love John Wayne. I love all of his movies.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Sons of Katie Elder, and with Dean Martin. I mean, Dean Martin was such a great actor too, and so
oh,
underrated. He's
phenomenal.
such a talented guy, so talented. And I used to play tennis with Dean's son, Dino, God rest his soul, who died tragically. And being in the Air Force Reserves, flew a plane into a mountain. But Dean was a great guy, just a great guy.
Yeah, that's really cool. So you did a lot of TV show when you started working, Three's Company, Facts of Life, The Fall Guy. Was
Oh
it
yeah, I
was
did.
it easier to get into TV shows than movies at when you start or
I just, whenever I'd audition, just if I got a role, I would do it. But I guest starred in a lot of shows and reoccurred in a lot of shows. Did numerous pilots that didn't go, and but just I've just been a working guy my whole career. I've just worked on all kinds of different stuff. So it's been
yeah.
fun. I've done 7 movies in Europe and did a movie in Brazil, and I was in Guatemala doing a cigarette campaign for the Rubios man for a month, and during the Civil War, which is kind of interesting. So my career has taken me all over the world, which is I've gone to places that I like. I did a movie uh in Latvia for Amazon, and which I would have never gone there. Bulgaria, I've done 3 movies there, one with Dolph Lundgren and a couple other action pictures there. And I love Bulgaria. Sofia is just a great city, and I've gone back to visit. I have friends there, and so it's taken me places that I wouldn't have gone to. And I got to
Yeah.
experience those places, Romania, a lot of different places like that. And then when I was over in Europe, after I was finishing work, I would always, spend 2 or 3 weeks and just travel.
Right. Yeah, why not?
Great. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So let's talk Roadhouse. How did you, I mean, did you just audition for it? How did you get the role of
Yeah,
Steve?
I auditioned for it. I mean, Patrick Swayze and I were buddies. We were in class together for many years over in Milton's, and we did a series called The Renegades together with Joel. And then Joel was doing Roadhouse, and he called me in, and I got the part. So I did that with him. I did a movie called Skate Town USA many years ago with Patrick. That was one of our first movies we did. And so we became very good friends. He was a really good guy, and the Roadhouse was a lot of fun. I enjoyed those 5 weeks on that movie. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, Steve had some memorable moments and memorable lines. I'm sure
Oh yeah. Well, you don't think
most
you have a
people
regular
know the.
Saturday night thing when somebody calls my mama a whore,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
I'm
that
on
whole
my break.
interaction.
Yeah, I had some classic lines. People used to, they'd shout them at me on the street and stuff, and it was a fun little character. It was fun. I had a great time doing it. I had a lot of fun doing it. It was a really fun set.
Yeah, I love the movie. My friends love the movie. We all love watching it together. And
Yeah. Well,
I read that it had harsh reception from the critics, which I was
oh, when
surprised.
it first came out, yeah, but that just shows you what the hell critics know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the movie's been a cult classic. I mean, it's it's pretty cool. I'm on that. What do you call that place where you wish people happy birthday and what's the name of that?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I can't believe I'm on. I do a bunch of them, but a lot of them are Roadhouse fans. They want me to, I just did one for Father's Day for a guy, and what's that thing called? Golly day, I'm looking on my phone to find out. I can't remember what it's
I know what
called.
you're talking about. I just
Yeah, me
can't.
too. I know what I'm talking about. I just, I don't know what the hell it's called, which is kind of stupid, but whatever. I'll think of it in a minute.
Yeah,
But anyway, yeah, I do a lot of those, and a lot of them are Roadhouse fans, when I go in and wish
yeah.
them a happy anniversary or whatever. So fun.
So you guys had the Jeff Healy band there for the
Yeah,
whole,
Jeff
the
was Jeff
filming.
was a really good guy. Cameo, it's called Cameo.
Yes, yeah, there it is.
Cameo. Cameo. So anybody wants a birthday wish or whatever, just look up Steve on Roadhouse. Look me up on Cameo. But Healy was he was a great guy, and I spent like 14 years, 7 months here in Canada. I became a dual citizen. I did a series called Wild Roses. That's on Amazon. We did 13. They should have never canceled it. It was a really fun show. I kind of played the J.R. Ewing, and we shot it in Calgary. But Jeff lived in Toronto, and that's where I was usually based. So, I'd go over to his club. He opened the club up, and so he'd be playing there sometimes. He had people come in and play. So I hung out there a lot and became really good friends with Jeff. And but Jeff, a lot of guys in that movie passed away. Ben Gazzar and Patrick and Jeff, and there's been a few people that are not here anymore.
Yeah,
Um, Jeff was a good friend. Really good, so gifted. God, what a talent.
yeah.
What a talent.
No,
Yeah.
incredible.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
even imagine, doing it on set and he's just playing right there while you guys are filming and
He's blind, he's totally
right.
blind.
Yeah,
So
which is just incredible when you
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
about it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But he was
Do
he
you
was a
have any stories or like strong memories from, the filming of Roadhouse, things that just stick out in your memory?
no, no, it was just it was just a wild set. There was a lot of pretty women around, and Sam was a great guy. He was, everybody was just really nice. Um, Tim Moore, who produced for Clint who's produced for Clint for a long time. Tim was one of the producers on there, so we became friends, and we've been working on this Unitas film for many years, and Tim's involved in that. We've come, close to getting it made several times, but we will get it made. We had David Onspa, who did Rudy and Hoosiers. He was the director. He was attached to it, and then he had a slight stroke and had to bow out. But we'll get that done. But I'm doing that with Tim and John's son. But John and I became good buddies from the Crosby. a golf tournament I did for many years. A lot of athletes would go to that. So anyway, so that's where I met Tim was on Roadhouse. So but
Yeah.
it was just a fun set, man. It was like, they built the Double Deuce, which is, out in the valley. It was incredible. And I heard the guy tore it down. I can't believe he tore it down because it was just
Oh,
a
really?
beautiful bar and totally serviceable. I mean,
Yeah.
he could have opened a, tourist attraction for the Double Deuce and made lot of money,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, turned it into a whole Roadhouse experience is what I would have done. But
Yeah.
but anyway, Roadhouse is the gift that keeps on giving. You know,
Yeah.
it's it's a
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
fun.
A lot of great actors and Kevin Tighe. I'm a big Emergency fan, so
Oh,
Kevin
yeah, Kevin
Tighe.
Tighe is a terrific actor. Kevin Tighe was a terrific actor. I think Kevin passed away too, didn't he? Or is he
Um,
still alive?
I think he's still him and Randolph Mantooth are both most of the other emergency actors I think have passed away. Actually, I think Robert Fuller, Dr. Brackett, he might be in his 90s. He might still be
Robert's alive.
alive. Yeah.
Robert's a good friend of mine. And he's married to Jennifer Savage. He's a good friend of mine. They live in North Carolina. And Robert's still around. Robert's a really good guy. I haven't talked to him in quite a while, but
Yeah.
Robert's still here. He's got to be in his late 80s.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
not many people from that TV show that are left either.
No,
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting to that point. It's kind of sad. A lot of those classic TV shows, people are getting older, they're passing away. I'm a big MASH fan. A lot of the MASH actors, Loretta Switch just passed away recently.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I love that
it gets
movie. I mean, that series.
yeah,
I've read for it a couple of times.
yeah.
Patrick did one. He did a MASH.
Yeah, he
Uh,
did. He had leukemia. His character had leukemia,
yeah.
and they didn't have a cure for it at the time. It's a pretty tough a lot of the MASH episodes had tough topics, but I mean that one, it's a pretty tough thing, right? You've got this kid who's got this disease, and there's no cure for it, and his buddy's in
Yeah.
rough shape,
Yeah.
and but
MASH was
Patrick
just
did a
a
really
great
well
show.
job with it.
Oh, he was great. Patrick was great in it. And the series, I love that series. It was such a good series. Such a good series.
Yeah,
They all the I like a lot of the older series, like, the Carol O'Connor series, All in the Family. They probably wouldn't even be able to do that today. Sanford and Son, they probably wouldn't be able to do it because maybe since political correction has kind of slowly gone away, maybe now, but the topics that they tackled, during that time were, really poignant and funny and good, and it was great. I thoroughly loved those series.
yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I love classic TV shows and such phenomenal actors, and they all had such great range. A lot of these actors,
yeah.
they could do everything from dramas. Patrick could do everything from a drama to an action, something serious. A lot of these actors, they could do so many different types of shows and movies.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That kind of served me well. I've done drama and bad guys and comedy, and I was started out in theater doing musical comedy, and so that served me well.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite film, TV, theater?
Yeah, I like different things for different reasons. I did a sci-fi movie that wasn't very good, but we did it in Brazil, and I was in Brazil for a month, and met one of my great friends, Ross McCall, on that movie, and an Irish actor. He's done a lot of stuff. Ross is, a really good actor and writer. So I love that movie just because I had a great experience and I met some good people, and I was in Brazil for 6 weeks, and it was great. And same thing as Bulgaria, Delta Force Default. That was a fun movie. It was a big action movie, and it was just that was a fun experience and got to see different places and saw different things. The series I did in Canada, Wild Roses, I could have played that character forever. That was just a fun character, a great group of talented actors on that series. Um, the CBC should have never canceled it, but they did. But we were nominated for Best Series and got flown out to Monte Carlo, and I was nominated for Best Actor, so that was kind of fun. But you can watch that. Go on Amazon, just put in Wild Roses and
Yeah,
watch
I'll
the.
have to look it up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a fun show. It's a fun show. So, so yeah, you like different things for different reasons.
Right. Yeah, something that might mean more to you. It wasn't popular, but if you had a good experience, that's gonna
Yeah,
resonate with
exactly.
you forever.
Yeah, exactly. If the movie, it could have been a shitty movie or didn't turn out that well. But, I just had, it was just a great experience, But most of the movies and things I've done, with good actors, and they've all held up pretty well, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah, you've worked with a lot of phenomenal actors, a lot of big TV shows and things throughout your career. Is there anyone you haven't worked with that you'd like to work with still someday? You know, that's like, oh, I just
Oh,
love to do a project with this person or
um, sure. I'd love to work with Martin Scorsese. I'd love. I've got to read for him a couple of times, but never got the parts. Acting wise, Meryl Streep would be fun. Love to work with her. There's so many good actors out there I don't know. Nobody's really coming to mind right now, but Ben Affleck and I'd like to work with him. I think he's a really good actor, but I think he's a better director. I'd like to, we're talking to him actually about directing Unitas. We'll see if that happens, but I think he's a very talented director. Matt Damon's a wonderful actor. I'd love to work with him. Robert Downey is a wonderful actor. I'd love to work with him. So you know.
yeah. Yeah, you never know, hey?
That's right. That's right. That's right. You know, well, in acting class, I got to do like, Michelle Pfeiffer and I did our first scene together, and Clooney and I did several scenes together in class. So you worked with all of them before they were well known and big stars.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I was in class with a lot of people, Robin Williams and Ted Danson and Patrick and George and Miguel Ferreira. God rest his soul. He passed away, but Miguel was a wonderful actor. But we, worked with all those guys in class, in Milton's class. It was great.
Yeah, a lot of connections.
Yeah. 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 You never know in this business who's going to blow up and who's not.
Right. Right, yeah, especially when you're all in acting class together. There could be somebody you think, oh man, that guy's gonna be a great star, and he never does anything, and somebody
Yeah,
else is kind of
exactly.
under the rug, and they go off and have a great career.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing about this business. There's no rhyme or reason. You just gotta, you got the, if it's in your heart and soul to do it, then you can't do anything else, and you just keep doing it. You
Yeah,
know, you have your dry
yeah,
spells, but I've always stayed busy and worked a lot, which is good. So thank you,
right.
Lord, knock on wood.
Yeah, yep,
Hopefully it'll continue. You know.
yeah. Well, let's talk about a few non-acting things. I was looking at your Instagram, and you had posted about the Greg Laurie Alice Cooper interview. How you said it was a good interview that people need to go and watch. And I had watched that not that long ago, and I thought it was really good too. I learned a lot about Alice Cooper, and I didn't know that he was religious. I didn't know he was a man
Oh yeah.
of faith, and I thought it was a really good interview. And I encourage people to go and listen to it too.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I've done a lot of golf tournaments with Alice, and he's a really, really nice guy. And he's so much different than the persona. That was one of the first concerts I went to in high school was Alice
Oh,
Cooper.
really?
Yeah, in Virginia. And then I got to meet, get to know him a bit from playing some golf tournaments with him. But yeah, he's very religious, he's a Republican, and he's not anything anything like that, that character he plays on stage in his concerts, but which
Right.
is fun. I mean, he puts on a hell of a show. Um, but yeah, anyway, yeah, I've got to, play a lot of charity events with a lot of, the Crosby and Sinatra, and a lot of you know, got to meet, 'cause I don't know, I came out here in the late 70s, so I got to meet, Cary Grant, spoke at our acting class, and, De Niro and Pacino and, Redford and Paul Newman and, so I got to meet all those guys, John Wayne, of course. And, it was, I was waiting tables at Jimmy's restaurant, and and John came in, and that's first, I was a young actor, And I got to I got to wait on him. And I said, "Well, Mr. Wayne," I said, I'm a young actor, and I just this is before I knew his kids and started working a lot, doing charity events with them, and I said, "I'm just a huge fan of yours." He said, "Well, what's your name?" And I said, "Well, it's Gary Hudson." He goes, "Well, that's good, but why don't you go get me my bourbon?" I went, "Yes, sir. I'll go get that right now." He had a presence, man. That guy had a presence that was you know, uh, fun. Then I was doing this series called The Adventures of Briscoe County with Bruce Campbell, which was a great. You ever seen that show?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God, you got to go buy it. It was I did like 4 episodes, and I was going to be a regular the next season playing the Elvis of the West, Sheriff Aaron Vivo. And it was what Elvis would have been like in the during the Old West in the 1800s.
Right.
And it's I mean people that guest starred on that thing, Terry Bradshaw, and I mean it just goes on and on that show. But I was dressed up in my Western Elvis attire, and Clint Eastwood came walking by me over the Warner Brothers lot, and he kind of just stopped, because Clint was the he was the classic Western guy.
Oh
And
yeah.
he looked at me, he goes, "What the hell are you?" And I went, "I'm the Elvis of the West, Clint." And I said, "I know I've just shit all over the Western genre." And he just started laughing. He goes, "No," he goes, "You look good." He goes, "No, you are." I had the sideburns and the whole thing and the dark hair, and I was in this wild Western costume that Elvis would have wore. But that's a fun show. You should go watch. We only did that one season, and then Warner Brothers got match, I think, with Fox over money and of course, and they canceled it. But
Yeah.
shit, canceled. That show was so much fun. I love that character.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up. I'm sure I can
Oh
find it
yeah, Adventures
somewhere.
of Briscoe County. You could probably find it somewhere
Yeah.
running. It's a really good show. Funny as hell. So funny. So funny.
Yeah, I'll add it to the list of things I need to
Yeah, 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 yeah,
watch.
yeah.
So you're a big golfer? You do a lot of golfing?
Yeah, I do a lot of those charity events, and I'm injured right now, but I just had a spinal fusion, but I'm from all the stunts and stuff I've done over my life, kind of fight scenes kind of caught up with me. But yeah, I should be back playing. I'm hoping I can play this event in Pennsylvania that I really enjoy next month in August. We'll see. But then I've got the Hawaii tournament in Maui coming up in October, and then another tournament in Wilmington, North Carolina, coming up in November. The Willie Stargell, which is a great event. So yeah, I do a lot of tournaments.
Are you good?
I'm all right. I used to be a lot better. I haven't played in 6 months, so we'll have to see. But when I was playing, I was shooting in the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's just sometimes the 80s turned into the 90s, depending on the golf course and how you're feeling, and so it. But I'm decent. I'm decent.
Yeah. I
You
see you
know.
did some events with Christopher McDonald.
Oh, Chris and I are all really good friends. We're great friends. We started out together. So I've known Chris since we were in our 20s. So yeah, Chris, Shooter. Yeah, Shooter. I just talked to Shooter, a few days ago. And I can't wait to see the remake of
Oh
Happy
yeah.
Gilmore. But Chris is really, he's really done well. He's really, he's that guy just works all the time. But we've been friends a long time. I'm good friends with his family and his wife and kids, and
Yeah.
yeah, Chris and I are buddies.
How does his golf game compare to Shooters? Is it pretty good or?
Yeah, Chris is a decent golfer. Yeah, yeah. Chris is a good athlete. Very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the new movie too. The trailer looks really funny. I mean,
Yeah, no, it should be, yeah, I mean, everybody's in it. I'm pissed I'm
yeah.
not in it, but he can't beat me in golf, but he's a good golfer. No, I think anybody could beat me right now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I love golf. I've become obsessed with golf just
Oh, really?
all the
Okay.
time.
Now, where do you
Yeah.
live? Where do you live again?
Michigan.
You're in
Michigan. Upper
Michigan.
Michigan. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You live in old ass Michigan.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
my ex-girlfriend was from Michigan. It seems, there's a lot of Michiganders down here. I got a lot of good friends from Michigan down there that they'd watch the Rose Bowl, and usually Michigan was, in the row, and they're going, "Look at California, I got to get the hell out of here." They all come down here. You know, my brother lives in Minnesota, so that's probably colder than Michigan in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And I'm going, God, Glenn, I went there one Christmas. I went, shit, I don't know if I don't know if I can do this again in the winter. It's beautiful, but it's just so cold.
Yeah. Oh,
Minus 30.
terrible.
It's
Yep.
like,
And the
my
wind, the
God.
wind is whipping and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it builds character.
it
Those
does.
winters build
Yeah.
character.
Yeah. Right. Tough people up here in the
Yeah,
north.
exactly. The hardy people. No, I love them. I've been to Michigan many times. People are great there.
Yeah, hey, you get weird weather. We recently, I don't know, it was end of May or something. We had like a 90-degree day, and then a couple days later it was 50 degrees. I mean,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
weird temperature swings, 40-degree temperature swings. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah. Now that can happen there. It can snow in May, and then be
oh
warm.
yeah,
Yeah. I know my
I
brother gets that all the time in Minnesota. Same
oh
thing.
yeah.
You
I
know.
think they said the only time up here in the UP there's never been recorded snow is August. I think it snowed in July once, sometime in history, but August
Yeah,
maybe it's
yeah,
never snowed
yeah.
or something like that.
Where in Michigan are you living? Where?
Way, way, way up in the Upper Peninsula. Way, way up there.
What's it called? What's the town called?
Houghton. Houghton. There's a university here, Michigan Technological University.
Okay,
That's the
okay.
reason
I've
that
never
people
heard
know
of it,
where
but
we're
that's,
at.
yeah. I've
Yeah.
been to Detroit many times. It's
Yeah.
a
Well, yeah, we're about 12 hours north.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's cold up there. It's
Yeah.
much. Yeah,
You know where Isle Royal is in Lake Superior, the island?
yeah, yeah.
So like a
Hmm.
lot of boats will depart from here to go to Isle Royal. Seaplanes and stuff will depart from here to go to Isle Royal. People if they're gonna go hike or different things.
Hold on, let me just turn this on. They got a message. Yeah, but that's it's. I'm sure it's pretty up there. I'm sure it's nice.
Oh, it is pretty, but you got to fight the snow. It's worth it. The fall, the summer, it's beautiful.
Oh yeah. Oh, it is. It is.
We
How
can't.
are the mosquitoes?
If you're in the woods, they're horrendous. They're just
Yeah, I know. I know.
unbearable,
Yeah, yeah.
unbearable.
No, it's I've spent a few winters in Canada, and the mosquitoes are, can get pretty big,
Yeah.
pretty
Yep.
cold,
Yeah. Yep.
summertime,
For sure.
you know.
Well, I know as we wrap up the episode here, I know you're a big sports fan. You're a Cowboys fan, a Lakers
Yeah,
fan.
yeah, I'm a
Eh.
Cowboys fan, Lakers fan, yep, the Yankees fan. You know, my whole family are Redskin fans, and I just went against the grain. And we were at my grandmother's watching a game, and they were all cheering for Washington. I was like 7, 8 years old, and they said, "Who do you want, Gary?" I said, "I'll take Dallas." So we've had more fun with that. I've been a Dallas fan, ever since. And my brother was a big Yankees fan. We were in Virginia, so. We had AAA teams, with Johnny Bench played on, who I got to know pretty well. Johnny and I did a lot of tournaments together. But he played for the Peninsula Twins one season. And I used to go out when I was in high school and watch them. And, so New York was when, I had Mantle, Maris, the Yogi, I just loved the Yankees growing up as a kid. And then I went to Jerry West basketball camp when I was like 12 and became a huge Laker fan. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, very historic teams you're a fan of. I mean, some of
yeah,
the
oh
biggest.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was a big, we had the only team we had pro team was the ABA. We had the Virginia Squires, but on that team, man, Julius Erving played on for the Virginia Squires and George Gervin. I mean, there was some Charlie Scott. I mean, there were some iconic great players. I got to see Julius Erving when he was like, 19, 20 years old, like
That's
he,
incredible.
he was
Yeah.
he was phenomenal. What a player to watch. That was a great team. That was a great team. So my brother and I used to go to a lot of the Virginia Squire games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. My dad's a big Cowboys fan. Always has been.
well, he's
Um
smart. He's a smart guy. Tell him I said hello.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about the Cowboys this upcoming season?
Well, I think Jerry Jones needs to sell the team. He's a great marketer, but he's not a great. I've just been
Yeah.
disappointed in him as an
Yeah.
owner, and I like Dak as a person. I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. Unfortunately, I think he plays well against bad defenses, but a good defense he has trouble with. He's
Yeah.
gotten a little better, but. I mean, this last year he stopped running. I mean, I guess I don't know
Yeah.
if he's worried about getting hurt or what, but he just stopped running, and that was his kind of signature was his scrambling ability. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a lot of, I'll be cheering for him, but hope I'm wrong, and they have a great season. But Jerry Jones just he's too controlling,
Yeah.
too controlling, and
He seems
yeah.
happy to just be in the news headlines. The team's in the headlines and he's happy. He doesn't, I don't know. He seems to,
Yeah. Well, he's a great marketer. He's an incredible marketer, man. That guy is so smart. But I've got to do a lot of charity events like with Ed Too Tall Jones, and we do
yeah.
a lot of golf events together, and it's just Charlie Waters and a lot of the guys that from the winning days with Aikman, and so. But hey, Cowboys have won. I think they've won what, six championships, five?
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, yeah, but they haven't won one in a long damn time.
It's been a while.
Not since Troy,
Yep.
and that's a long time. So it's a rough go to be a Cowboy fan, but I stay loyal. I stay
Right. Well,
loyal.
you have to stay loyal. Nobody wants those fans that are jumping from ship to ship and
Yeah, no, I'm not a fly-by-night fan. I cheer the same teams, and I like Denver. I like the 49ers, Montana. So, I got to play a lot of tournaments with Joe, and I've always liked the 49ers, but my main team
right.
is the Cowboys. The
Yeah, well, you
Cowboys.
can root for other teams because you got
Yeah,
connections
no,
to or
of
whatever.
course.
No, but yeah, but
Yeah.
you're staying loyal to your team even when they suck.
I'll
That
root for
means
the
a lot.
Rams too. I'll root for
Yeah,
the Rams I know Eric Dickerson's a good buddy of mine, and arguably one of the best running backs to ever play the game.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
No,
you
yeah.
could write a book about all the people you've played golf tournaments with.
Well, I know all people I know. People tell me I should write a book. I started one, but I just never finished it. But I have it here on my computer. Maybe you'll inspire me to go back.
Yeah, you write a book about your career and that'd be
Yeah,
cool.
well, yeah, so much about all my Lifetime movies I've done.
Yeah,
I've done like
yeah.
20 Lifetime movies. Let's do a Lifetime book. It's too
Did
funny.
you do keep doing them because they kept calling you back, or you just kept auditioning for
Yeah,
them,
yeah, I
or
did a bunch for a good friend of mine, Pierre David, who does a lot, mainly only Lifetime movies. But I did a few world premieres. I did a Noah Roberts book called Angel Falls, and with Heather Locklear, and then I did one called She's Too Young, which was a best-selling book with Marcia Gay Harden. We played husband and wife about teenage promiscuity. And so I've got to do three of their world premieres. I haven't done one in quite a while, to be honest with you, but the last one was like 2 years ago. But I've worked for them a lot. Lifetime's been good to me.
yeah?
So that's good. That's
Do you
good.
have current projects that you're working on right now,
Not
or has it
really.
been hard because you're
I got a couple things in the work. There's a movie that I'm going to be doing with Ross McCall, and then we've got the United story that I'm working. I'm going to produce that, and I'll play a part in it, not a big part, but um, So, and I'm always auditioning. I want to break right now because of my
right?
surgery coming up, but I'm taking my break. I'm on my break again, uh, but I'll be back going again here in about another month.
Yeah, well, that's good. You do some voice work once in a while too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Do a lot of voice work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is that can you more convenient, especially like can you do voice work right now from home or
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
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 You've done some video games and some different things.
Yeah, I've done all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I've done like
How,
over 300 commercials and in my
wow.
career, and I've done loads of stuff.
That's
So
crazy.
it's
Yeah.
been a good run. I
Yeah.
can't I
Well,
can't complain. I didn't get that George Clooney, Patrick Swayze kind of career, which I always wanted. We always put, hey, those guys, I'm happy for them, and but I've done better than 99% of the people in my business. So,
Right. Yeah.
uh,
No, yeah, you can't complain. You've had a
no,
great journey and a
uh-uh.
lot of experiences, met a lot of
Yeah,
awesome people, and still going. So that's what counts.
that's right. Like the ever-ready bunny, I'm still going.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking some time
Oh,
hopping
my
on
pleasure,
the
buddy. It was good talking to
podcast.
you.
Yeah, I wish you the best of luck with your surgeries and everything. Hope you get back on the golf course soon and
I will. I will. I will.
yeah.
What do you shoot, by the way? Well, how's your golf game?
It's not great. I don't want to talk about it.
Golf is the hardest sport on the
It
planet.
is very
I
hard.
mean, it is like, my God, I watched that U.S. Open and saw
Oh,
the rough. I mean,
incredible.
I would have shot 200 out there.
Oh, easily. Easily. I can't play consistent. I'll hit a great drive and then I'll screw up my chip and then I'll three putt or something. And
Yeah, well, that's golf, man. I mean, you got to work. That's why we keep playing. That's why every athlete plays golf because it's the ultimate challenge that they'll never conquer. But
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right, brother.
thanks,
We're
Gary.
talking to you. I enjoyed it.
Thanks for listening. Please stay tuned for more episodes soon.